of Delhi Chief Minister. Now, a huge announcement was made yesterday by the Delhi Chief Minister, Arvind Kejriwal, saying that he is going to be stepping down in the next few days, the next 2 days to be precise or so. Essentially, the Delhi Chief Minister has spoken about the fact that he is going to go back to the people of Delhi. He made this decision, saying that he is ready to give this particular Agni Pariksha, assured workers to announce the name of the next CM by Tuesday, which is tomorrow. Arvind Kejriwal has spoken about this and also has indicated that the fight is still on. He sent across a message to the Election Commission, asking them to shift the Delhi Assembly elections from February 2025 to November, when Jharkhand and Haryana also vote. Meanwhile, former mentor Anna Hazare has hit out at Kejriwal for defying his advice to shun politics.
से बरी होके ना आ जाऊं तब तक मैं सीएम की कुर्सी पे नहीं बैठूंगा। उन्होंने कहा जी ये 10 साल चलेगा केस, कोई कह रहा है 15 साल चलेगा केस, कोई कह रहा है 20 साल चलेगा केस। तो केस ये अभी लंबा चलेगा। आज कोर्ट जितना कर सकता था, कोर्ट ने हमारे पक्ष में निर्णय लिया है, हमें बेल दे दी उन्होंने, ऐसे कानून में जिसमें बेल मिलनी नामुमकिन होती है। 2 दिन के बाद, आज से 2 दिन के बाद मैं सीएम की कुर्सी से इस्तीफा देने जा रहा हूं और मैं तब तक सीएम की कुर्सी पे नहीं बैठूंगा जब तक जनता अपना फैसला ना सुना दे। अगर आप मेरे को वोट देके जिताओगे और अगर आप कहोगे कि केजरीवाल ईमानदार है, तो चुनाव के बाद, उसके बाद जाके मैं सीएम की कुर्सी पे बैठूंगा, तब तक मैं सीएम की कुर्सी पे नहीं बैठूंगा।
मैम, बीजेपी ने ये भी कहा है कि 2 दिन क्यों चाहिए?
उसका तो सिंपल सा रीजन है, आज संडे है और कल छुट्टी है ईद की, तो नेक्स्ट वर्किंग डे ट्यूसडे है, इसलिए 2 दिन का समय चाहिए।
मैं पहले से ही बता रहा था, राजनीति में नहीं जाना, समाज की सेवा करो, बहुत बड़ा आदमी बन जाएगा। कई साल हम लोग साथ में थे, वो टाइम बार बार मैं कह रहा था कि राजनीति में नहीं जाना, समाज सेवा ये अपने जीवन में आनंद दे दिए, आनंद में डूबे रह रहा हूँ, लेकिन उसके दिल में ये बात आई नहीं और आज जो होना तो हो गया।
केंद्रीय एजेंसीज तो बीजेपी के ही ऑफिस से चलती है और अगर आप देखें तो जो अरविंद केजरीवाल साहब है, निडर है, एक निडर लीडर है और वही बिना डरते हुए आज लड़ते हैं, संविधान के लिए लड़ रहे हैं, देश के हित के लिए लड़ रहे हैं। वैसे ही सिसोदिया जी है, हमारे यहाँ सूरज चौहान अभी भी अंदर है, लेकिन वो भी लड़ रहे हैं। अनिल देशमुख जी हो, संजय राउत जी हो, जो लड़ रहे हैं देश के लिए, वो बिना डरे हुए दिखा रहे कि उनकी भी जो सीना है वो भी काफी मजबूत है।
In a democracy as we have today, it is the prerogative of Mr. Kejriwal and his party to take any such political decision. It is for Mr. Kejriwal and his party to explain the background of this decision and explain what is going to be their future course of action, future strategy.
Ashutosh Mishra getting in more details on that big story, joining us this morning from the Delhi Chief Minister's residence. A surprise, Ashutosh, that the Delhi CM sprung on the people of Delhi, also the other political parties, including its own partner, the Congress. The big question is, why the delay for 48 hours and what is expected as far as tomorrow is concerned, given that the deadline expires tomorrow?
Well, cannot be said actually a delay because there are certain formalities that you need to do. First, the calling the all-party meeting, the legislative party meeting of the Aam Aadmi Party, where the MLAs will decide the next leader of the House, who will ultimately become the Chief Minister. Subsequently, talking all your stakeholders, which are your MPs, your MLAs, and not only the Delhi unit. In fact, last evening only, all the MPs and MLAs and the minister in Punjab met Arvind Kejriwal. There was also a discussion. So you have to have a consensus on board and then convince everyone, because ultimately what has happened, that a demoralized cadre perhaps has actually got charged up, and now they're gearing for the election. All you see is, one perspective is that's an announcement of a resignation, but if you see the other side, and having known Arvind Kejriwal and the kind of political startup he started, one of the most successful startup in the politics, this is clearly an election campaign which he already has started. So tomorrow when he tenders his resignation, say around 12:30 or 1 p.m. what we are hearing from the sources, and immediately handing over him the support of the MLAs, which will be declaring name of the next chief minister, and which may not be really very surprising. Probably one of the key minister in the cabinet would be the next chief minister. So that decision will be taken. Today being to be a holiday, and clearly on that day there are some rounds of meeting have been decided, have been called right behind me here at the Chief Minister's house, and all these meetings are actually to chalking out a strategy. So until you have a strategy, and then next course of action, and then taking up the major decision, because already resignation has been announced. He also announced that he's going to leave the CM house in next 2 weeks, and probably would be shifting to some other areas. Clearly what happens next is going to be very interesting. But so far what he has really surprised, but at the same time he played really a master card just before the election. And also now the pressure goes on the election commission, that whether they are going to carry out the election on the demand, because you already have a Haryana and Jharkhand election, then there will be another election in the February. And while the India, we are almost talking about one nation, one election, this could be also a litmus test for the election commission, that are they ready to at least carry out 3 state elections together?
Well, absolutely. It's a big question, and that's something that the Election Commission will have to answer, given that Arvind Kejriwal has, yes, made this announcement and thrown in this surprise, really. Ashutosh, I'm going to thank you for the moment for getting in those details. Meanwhile, India Today's Rahul Kanwal spoke exclusively with Delhi Minister Atishi over Arvind Kejriwal deciding to resign as the Chief Minister of Delhi. Let's take a listen.
Atishi, can you explain the thinking within the Aam Aadmi Party? Arvind Kejriwal chose not to resign when he was accused of being involved in the liquor scam. The 153 days he stayed in jail, despite people suggesting that he should resign, he chose not to. He's resigned after coming out on bail at this moment. Explain, why has this decision been taken at this juncture?
See, Rahul, what you need to understand is that for the last 10 years, Bharatiya Janata Party has been using ED and CBI to topple governments. They have used it to threaten MLAs, to buy off MLAs. They have formed governments without winning majorities in Karnataka, in Madhya Pradesh, in Goa, in Arunachal Pradesh, in Manipur. State after state, they have broken parties, brought down governments using ED and CBI. This is exactly what they were doing in opposition states across the country. Why was Hemant Soren arrested? Hemant Soren was arrested to attack an opposition ruled state. Why was Arvind Kejriwal arrested? To attack an opposition ruled state. If Arvind Kejriwal had resigned just because this fake case was registered against him, just because ED and CBI was used against him, it would have opened all opposition ruled states to exactly the same fate. Mamata Banerjee would have been arrested, Pinarayi Vijayan would have been arrested, Siddaramaiah would have been arrested, Stalin would have been arrested. And that is the reason why Arvind Kejriwal chose not to resign at that point of time. Now you'll ask, why has he resigned today? He has resigned today, and to understand Arvind Kejriwal's resignation, you have to look at Arvind Kejriwal not as a chief minister, you have to look at Arvind Kejriwal not as a political mastermind, you have to look at the person of Arvind Kejriwal. This is the man who has dedicated his entire life to fighting against corruption. This is a man who has spent his entire life trying to bring about clean governance and clean politics. And what has the BJP been trying to do in the last 2 years? They have been trying to taint his image, trying to tell the people of Delhi, no, Arvind Kejriwal is like all other politicians. Arvind Kejriwal ne paisa khaya hai. Arvind Kejriwal ne corruption kiya hai. So the man who gave up his job as an IRS officer to work in the slums of Delhi, the man who gave up his chief minister's post because he could not bring in the anti-corruption legislation he had promised, for him, this is something that causes him deep angst and deep pain. That the fact that people could actually be thinking that he has been corrupt, that people could actually be thinking that their hard-earned tax money has gone into his pocket. And that is what has brought about this resignation. That now he does not See, the Supreme Court has said in black and white terms, they have said that the CBI and the ED have been working like caged parrots of the government, that the CBI and ED should be independent, that Arvind Kejriwal's arrest was not because of any case but to keep him in jail. But now he wants this stamp of approval from the people of Delhi as well, from whom he has been working for the last 10
Atishi ji,
years.
your opponents
And
are
that is the
calling
reason
this
for
a
his
PR stunt. That because Arvind Kejriwal has been away from the media limelight, he now wants that over the next several days, the limelight is once again focused on him, and that he's doing this to be able to generate sympathy and somehow wash his hands of the anti-incumbency that's built up over 2 terms of AAP being in power in Delhi.
Rahul, you please tell me this. Can any leader of any party in this country today have the courage to say what Arvind Kejriwal has said? Haryana elections are going on right now. Bharatiya Janata Party has a sitting chief minister. Can the sitting chief minister have the courage to go and say to the people of Haryana that if I have been honest, if you think I am honest, vote for me. If you think that I have done any corruption, then don't vote for me. Congress has so many chief ministers, other parties have chief ministers. Can any of them have the courage to go and say this to the people of Delhi? And the answer is no. It is only Arvind Kejriwal who has the courage to risk his political career, to take such a big decision, because he knows that the people of Delhi understand his honesty. Because the people of Delhi know the fact, they see what is happening in other states. They have relatives who live in Faridabad, relatives who live in Gurgaon, relatives who live in Noida, where BJP ruled governments are giving people hell. Where you have power cuts for 8 hours, where you have expensive electricity, where you have poor government schools, where you have hospitals in shocking conditions. So people of Delhi can see the fact that it is only because of the honest governance of Arvind Kejriwal that so many things have happened over the last 10 years.
All right, now joining me this morning is my colleague Preeti Chaudhary with the very latest on that big story that Preeti is tracking. What next, Preeti, for the Aam Aadmi Party? Will it be a one strategy meeting after another right now? What is it that you're picking up?
Well, what next for Arvind Kejriwal and the Aam Aadmi Party? Well, the campaign for Delhi began with Arvind Kejriwal walking out on bail. And now with his resignation. On Tuesday, Arvind Kejriwal has, of course, chosen to officially resign. Sunday was when he said that he is going to resign. The reason why he's chosen Tuesday is, of course, he believes in Lord Hanuman. You'll see a lot of fanfare. He'll be going to the Hanuman temple before his resignation. And there he's going to put in his resignation officially. But that is where the real work for Arvind Kejriwal will begin. He will have to, recast the mold, reinvent himself as to what he was or perceived to be. An anti-graft crusader who came from nothing, rose on the power of the people, and try and win that back, because this has to be the toughest perception war that Arvind Kejriwal has fought as a political leader. He's taken everybody by surprise. Call it what you may. It's a classic Arvind Kejriwal tactics. He's done it before as well, where he's resigned as chief minister and said, I'm going to polls, let the people decide. Personalizing an election is very, very risky. But Arvind Kejriwal has done it in the past. This time the stakes are higher because, like I said, he comes for the first time to the people with the charge of graft, and he's been an anti-graft crusader. But what the party and Arvind Kejriwal had, intended to do is to take the focus away from the anti-incumbency, from the talks of president's rule, from the charges of graft, from, disarray where some members of the party was concerned, and completely refocus the spotlight and put it on himself. Make this election where Delhi is concerned about Arvind Kejriwal. So not about anti-incumbency, but the question, should Arvind Kejriwal now come back as chief minister? Like I said, it's risky, the stakes are high, and Arvind Kejriwal is now not shy of taking that leap. But when we talk of reinventing himself, what's he going to do? He will definitely leave the chief minister's residence. There's been a fair amount of controversy attached where the chief minister's residence in Delhi is concerned, not because other CMs of states have not had, opulent houses, but nobody at least the, in perception thought Arvind Kejriwal would. So he's going to leave that. Will he go back to the people? Where will he live? Will he go back to that, tiny flat he had in Koshambi with his family? Will he go back to driving that silver Wagoner? We don't know if any of that's going to happen, but definitely there will be a reinvention, and clearly he's thought out a plan, because all of this was the plan of Arvind Kejriwal himself. When he walked out of jail on Friday, he knew exactly what he was going to do, and he told his party. For the party, the big word will now be, or the big task for the party would now be, after the meeting of the legislative party, to decide who will be the acting chief minister, the caretaker chief minister, till elections are called for. And that's going to be the big question.
All right, thanking you, Preeti, getting in those details and that perspective. The chief minister all set to quit. Within the next 24 hours, the name of the New Delhi chief minister will be announced. On Sunday, Arvind Kejriwal said a former Delhi deputy chief minister, Manish Sisodia, is also out on bail in Delhi liquor gate case, rejected to accept the top post. Aam Aadmi Party has called for a legislative party meeting on Tuesday, and the new CM is likely to be chosen in this meeting. So far, AAP netas have not ruled out Arvind Kejriwal's wife, Sunita Kejriwal, from the picture. She took charge of AAP's Lok Sabha campaign during Arvind Kejriwal's absence. Sources say that 4 Delhi ministers, Atishi, Kailash Gehlot, Saurabh Bhardwaj and Gopal Rai, are contenders to become the next Delhi CM. These ministers hold multiple portfolios in the cabinet and are set to be close aides of the Delhi chief minister. Preeti continues to be with us. What about his successor, Preeti? What qualities will Arvind Kejriwal be looking at as far as his own pick here is concerned?
So speculation is rife on who will replace Arvind Kejriwal as the caretaker chief minister, because on Sunday Arvind Kejriwal said that he hoped elections would be called early as November, and Delhi should go to polls on alongside Maharashtra and Jharkhand in November. The term of the assembly, of course, expires in 2025 February, but because the Vidhan Sabha or the state assembly has not been dissolved and there will be a caretaker chief minister, there will be no urgency to call elections by the EC. So in probability, what we will see is the Aam Aadmi Party complete the 5-month term which is left till February 2025, and that is when the elections would be called. So who will be the caretaker chief minister for 5 months? Many names rife. If you look at administratively, then somebody like an Atishi, who already handles all the portfolios ever since Manish Sisodia was in jail, is quite adept as a name to step into the shoes of Arvind Kejriwal. That's an administrative decision. If Arvind Kejriwal or the Aam Aadmi Party legislative party decides that the political decision should be made instead of an administrative decision, then an old horse like Kailash Gehlot could in fact step in. Kailash Gehlot is a very senior leader for the Aam Aadmi Party, has always felt possibly never got his due, and if he steps in as CM, he also brings in a caste factor. Many suggest it could help in Haryana elections to bring in a Jat face as the serving chief minister of Delhi. Importantly, with not so much as Haryana, but to focus on the outer, areas of Delhi where the Aam Aadmi Party is at least perceptionally, been seen to be losing grip, and getting a Jat face which works in the rural belt of Delhi could really work. There are other names in the fray like, Gopal Rai, there is Saurabh Bhardwaj. The big question, whether Sunita Kejriwal will step in, no. My sources tell me that's not happening at all. So there is no Sunita Kejriwal. But could there be a rabbit out of the hat, a complete outsider who's not taken care, who's not been seen as part of a Delhi, of the Delhi leadership? Could it be a sitting Rajya Sabha MP? Well, we'll only know after Arvind Kejriwal puts in his resignation officially on Tuesday.
Doubtedly, in the next 24 hours will be extremely crucial and interesting. Fast-changing political developments in the national capital. Preeti, I'm going to leave it at that for the moment. One of the contenders to replace Arvind Kejriwal is Delhi Minister Atishi. India Today's Rahul Kanwal spoke exclusively to her and asked her if Arvind Kejriwal's wife Sunita Kejriwal will become the next Chief Minister of Delhi. Listen in to what she said.
Both Shehzad Poonawala of the BJP and Taiseen insinuating that Sunita Kejriwal, the Chief Minister's wife, is likely to be the next Chief Minister. Would you like to rule that out, or in that list of probables, do you think it's legitimate for her to be one of the candidates as well?
Rahul, we just discussed this 10 minutes ago, that the legislative party has not met yet. Once the legislative party meets, then a decision will be taken who will be the chief minister till the Delhi elections happen. But what we are keen on is the fact that elections should happen as soon as possible, because we want a mandate from the people of Delhi. We want to know what the people of Delhi...
No, so you're not ruling out Sunita Kejriwal. Basically, you're saying if the legislators decide that she should be CM, she's one of the candidates as well, whose candidature will be discussed.
Or I am saying exactly what I said 10 minutes ago, that the legislative party has not even met yet. Once the legislative party meets, then only any decision will be taken. And as soon as we take a decision, don't worry, Rahul, we will inform you also. We will inform Shahzad and we will inform Tehseen as well about what the decision of the legislative party is.
Delhi Chief Minister all set to resign tomorrow, which is the 17th of September. Political corridors are buzzing with many questions. One of them is why Arvind Kejriwal needs 48 hours to quit as the Delhi Chief Minister. BJP and ally, in fact, of the Aam Aadmi Party, the Congress, is also asking why this announcement of his resignation today, which is yesterday, when he is in fact going to be resigning after 2 days. BJP's question that is whether there is infighting within the Aam Aadmi Party for the CM post. Congress has said and asked, why can't he run the Delhi government from outside the jail when he ran the government from when he was in jail? Justifying the 48 hours, Delhi Minister Atishi said today is Sunday, tomorrow is a holiday, which is yesterday and today, so the CM is going to resign on the next working day, which is Tuesday.
ये उनका मर्जी जब करे जेल के अंदर भी वो सीएम रहे बाहर भी रह सकते हैं जब किसी ने जेल के अंदर सीएम बने सकते हैं बाहर क्यों नहीं हो सकता है उनके दूसरे काम में कोई ज्यादा इस समय तवज्जो देने की जरूरत होती है हो सकते ये तरजिया कौन से कहां क्या देगा ना देगा ये उनकी अपना मर्जी की माफी होना चाहिए वो कह रहे हैं कि उनका मनोबल गिराने के लिए उन्हें जेल में हो सकता है बिल्कुल हो सकता है जब कह रहे हैं
why he needs 2 days
That is a question I want to ask. 48 घंटे क्यों चाहिए आपको? क्या आपके राजनीतिक दल में सत्ता के मुंह को लेके किसी प्रकार का दंगल चल रहा है? Is there some kind of infighting? Are people trying to cling to power? Or you think that nobody is competent enough to actually discharge the duties of being a CM? This particular resignation ought to have been given and actually given 177 days ago. Even the Honorable Supreme Court of India had indicated in its earlier order that the Honorable CM ought to resign on the grounds of morality, but he did not.
पहले बताएं कि 6 महीने में क्यों नहीं दिए? हम लालू जी के घोर विरोधी हैं, लेकिन चारा घोटाले में गए तो पत्नी को सीएम बनाया, इस्तीफा दिए ना, झारखंड के सीएम ने इस्तीफा दिया ना जेल जाने पर। आपको क्या था? डर था कि कुर्सी आपके हाथ से निकल जाएगी। और 2 दिन क्यों? तुरंत क्यों नहीं? उनके किसी बात पर विश्वास लगता है कुछ मामला उनको अभी सेट करना है ना। जो व्यक्ति एक बड़े भ्रष्टाचार के खिलाफ आंदोलन में आगे बढ़ा, वो व्यक्ति भ्रष्टाचार पर ऐसा समझौता करेगा तो भारतीयों की नजरें शर्म से झुक गई हैं।